I made an observation this week. I've heard all kinds of different numbers from people about what LT4 fuel system can make on a car. What can you make on direct injection alone? We're getting into that and we're doing that right now, guys. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Jared and this is RedRacer Video. If this is your first time on the channel, guys, this is a car channel. We talk about car stuff. I have a twin turbo Camaro. I'm a late model GM nerd. We sprinkle in kind of a little bit of everything, so it's not just that, but we do a lot of car stuff. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, guys, please be sure to go down and hit the like button and then hit the subscribe button, and then make sure you hit the bell next to subscribe. That way you guys will know when we have new videos that come out. But today, like I talked about in the opener, guys, we are talking about LT4 fuel systems. Quick backstory to why I made this video. A buddy of mine just sent his car off to get some stuff done to it, drop in pistons and rods and make a bunch more power because it turned up the boost and stuff. They called and they were telling him, we think you're out of fuel. We think you should put this other, fuel system in the car, which at a point that is true, guys. But with where he was trying to go power wise, I was of the school of thought that he wasn't out of fuel yet. But that prompted me to ask around a little bit, and the answers that I got from some of the people that I look up to were a little bit different. So that's what prompted me to make this video, basically. There's a whole bunch of different caveats to the LT4 fuel system. So before I get into this, I've got to start this by saying, I know there are a whole bunch of different schools of thoughts on how these things go. I'm not saying I have the sauce here. I'm not saying that I'm the expert. I haven't run the fastest quarter mile out of everybody. I haven't gone and performed the best at road course out of everybody. I do believe that I've got about as good a parts as I could possibly have on this car, and we have a pretty good idea of how everything should be working. But having said that, I understand there's some other people out there doing different stuff that have gotten very good results as well. So in the comments, guys, I would love to hear everybody else's opinion. So go down and hit me with it. Let's hear it. I don't always think I'm right. I know there's different schools of thoughts. More than one way to skin a cat, I think is the phrase. Sorry to PETA or whatever the name of that animal group is for that one. I get it. Here's what I'm going to say. This is just opinions. This is all just opinions. This is not a factual thing. Fact check me. This is an opinion piece, okay? That's what I guess I should have said. It's an opinion piece. So, my opinion on the LT4 fueling and what you can get out of it, basically. Depending on the situation, and I'll kind of use my car for an example, okay? We have made up to, and now if I'm perfectly honest with you, I question my dyno numbers now a little bit, but we made a 5th gear pull of 929 wheel horsepower on this car with twin turbos on actually it was like E60 something, I want to say. Like E65 when they made the pull, with dual nozzle methanol injection, with direct injection only, no port injection. My buddy, this car that was just in the shop and having the work done, when they said he was out of fuel, in his mind, they were only shooting for like 750, maybe 800 max. So to be out of fuel there, he thought was kind of weird. So when he called me, and then I called a couple of people, the consensus that I kind of got, guys, and I don't want to give, geeky details to the moon and make this video incredibly long. So what I will say is this, the consensus from the people that I trust, and I'm not going to, name names because I don't want to pit people against each other, and not to toot my horn or anything, but I do know a lot of the big name Camaro people out there, if you will, some of the builders, some of the tuners, and I'm pretty comfortable saying that the consensus that I got from people was that about 800 wheel horsepower is about the limit on LT4 stuff with supplemented fueling from dual nozzle methanol injection. I know there's a lot more people out there making a lot more than that on those LT4 cars. So if what I'm gathering is true from a lot of the people that I trust, I think that a lot of people are out there pushing their direct injected cars a lot harder than they should be. And real quick, an asterisk to this, if you will, some of the people out there, and there's some of you guys are probably already pounding on the keyboard right now to say this, I know there is direct injection stuff out there, and I guess we should say that this is a good time to transition to direct injected stuff is supplemented by, they call it like big bore. Like I think Lingenfelter has a big bore pump or big bore injectors. They do get more fuel out of direct injection with some money spent. Having said that though, and that kind of brings me to the next point, it's a lot of money. If you're going to jump and make that jump from just direct from GM LT4 stuff, because you can do that relatively inexpensively. On my car, for instance, it's a 1SS, it's an LT1, but we've completely converted over to LT4. The high side, the low side, and the injectors, as well as we're running a DSX low side pump, as well as we're doing dual nozzle methanol injection. So, I mean, we're doing quite a bit to supplement fuel on my car, because again, it was an LT1 and it didn't have even the LT4 stuff. But on an LT4 car, on a direct injected car, period, I think that the sealing that they talk about there is pretty close to the sealing anyway. A couple of points to talk about. I talked to you about what my car made, the 928 wheel on E, and how a couple of the guys that I really respect have said, you know, that really on, you know, E85, and again, my car was on E65, so that was giving me more room for fueling. I had more gas in there, which means it was a little easier for my car to give the fuel. That's a whole nother video, guys, but basically, without going into it, if you're on pump gas versus E85, pump gas, your injectors can give a lot more of because it doesn't take quite as much. You need a lot more E than you do gasoline. So, long video, but the higher the E number is, the harder it's going to be for your fuel system to supply it. So, on E85, though, I think everybody is pretty convinced that 800 wheel is about the ceiling for that safely. It's not to say you can't go out and make a bigger number. It's not to say somebody hasn't. It's not to say that people aren't doing it right now. Just in my opinion, and I think that in the people that I talked to's opinion, and there was a couple of them actually that had the exact same answer, and it was 800, and that's why I've gone with that number. But they basically said that, you know, safely, something they'd be willing to tune and put their name on, that's kind of the ceiling of where you'd want to be there. So having said that, guys, talking about pump gas, that means your ceiling's actually quite a bit higher than that, especially if you're dual nozzle methanol injected and you can do bigger nozzles. So, I mean, you could spray a lot of methanol through the top. Too much of it, obviously, you run into like pooling issues, and you know, you could probably, you know, there's a whole bunch of arguments for and against the stuff. But direct injected, you could probably get up to probably, I'm going to say 1,000 wheel horsepower out of. But even there, I think you're pushing the envelope way too hard. And that's just, again, that's just my opinion. I know there's a lot of people doing it. I know E burns cooler, yada, yada, yada. The big bore stuff from Lingenfelter. Yes, I know that stuff works. But for me to be able to put it in my car and say, I know I'm never going to have an issue, I just think that some of the research that GM came up with on direct injected stuff and the temperatures that it creates without having fuel cooling, I mean, just pouring fuel through the top, which port injection does, direct injected does not. And that's why, guys, in my opinion, and you'll notice a lot of the things that I said, as far as numbers wise, that was if you are running methanol injection. Anybody that's running just pump, no E, no meth, and making north of 900 wheel, man, yeah, you can do it. Testament to your tuner for doing it without blowing stuff up, but I really feel like you are just poking a bear, dude. You are poking the bear. The numbers I gave you guys are with dual nozzle methanol injection because it's helping with detonation, it's helping with octane, and almost most importantly, in my opinion, it's helping the guy dumping something through the top that is cooling stuff. Because in a direct injected car, you're getting none of that. And that is a lot of heat for all your stuff, a lot of heat for all your valve train. It's a lot more heat. Whether the E is cooling the cylinder temps or not, that's not helping you on everything outside those cylinders. It's just not doing enough. LT4 stuff, in closing, I think there's a lot of people pushing LT4 stuff past what it sounds like a lot of people think is safe. So hope that was good. Hope that was concise. Hope that helps some of the people out there, because I think there are many people who will ask, what is the limit of LT4 fueling or LT4 direct injection? And I hope that answers that question for some people. So again, in the comments, I know there's a lot of different opinion, guys, so feel free to throw them at me. Hope nothing that I said sounded like venom to anybody that does things different way. Again, in closing, I don't have the sauce. I don't have the only way of thinking. That's just my way of thinking. This was a RedRacer opinion piece. And if you have different opinions, please, guys, again, in the comments down below, throw them in there. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you hit the like button before you go. If you're not already subscribed, become a subscriber. Hit the bell next to subscribe. I hope to see you guys on the next RedRacer video. Thanks so much, guys. Hope to see you soon.